Hello everyone, Tina Gale back again today with another process video. I'm doing another sketch from Nuts About Sketches, and sorry it's so small. Not sure why it printed out that way, but this is the sketch for this week. And these are the supplies that I've pulled out to use. I have this stamp set that I used recently, and I'm wanting to use the little boy and girl reading and this little girl with her book. I have some heart enamel dots, some clips. I have a couple of little things that were in my stash. This is just an ABC charm, and this is a wood button. And I just have some paper. I'm planning on stamping with that. For my title, I have 3 different colors picked out. I'm wanting to kind of mix those up. I'm not sure which ones I'll use. And then I also have these little buttons or things to spell out books to start my title. So that will be the beginning. These are the pictures that I'm working with today. Some more paper. I have this little wood 3x4 card that was sent to me from an online friend. So as soon as I saw this in the package, I knew I wanted to scrap these photos of my kids reading books inside the bookshelf. And then this is the rest of the papers. I've already cut my circle to do. I have so much ribbon in my stash. I've pulled this out maybe to do some borders. I'm trying to use up some of that stuff. And then I have my piercer tool because I'm thinking of sewing around this. So those are my supplies, and let's get started. So the sketch called for 2 portrait size or portrait orientation 3 3/4 by 5.5 photos. And I decided I had landscape photos, so I just trimmed them down a little bit and matted them together to make one photo, because I also wanted to use that wood 3x4 card, and so that's taken the place of my second photo on the sketch. So a lot of times if you're using sketches, be sure to don't get hung up on if you don't have the right orientation of the photos and stuff. Just make the sketch work for you. As long as I had the bulk of my photos and things inside of that circle, it was still following the sketch. Okay, so now I've just decided to ink the papers with some of my brown ink. The papers that I'm using today are from Studio Calico, the yearbook collection. And that's what the red circle is with the alphabet. And it's just a cut from my art philosophy cartridge that was a double circle, in where it cut to where you can see it there. And so I just flipped the outside circle over, so that yellow is the back of the red paper. And then the print that has the little boys and the girls playing, that's from October Afternoon. It's an older collection, but I've been hanging on to it for some of these photos of my kids when they were little, because it's perfect. It's so cute. So the paper is a year or so older, but the photos are 15, 16 years old, so I don't think it's going to matter that the paper's older. Okay, so I went ahead and used that ribbon that I was talking about that I was trying to use. I have a lot of ribbon in my stash, and I've purged some and held on to some, so it's nice to kind of use it. And it worked really well with this layout. And so I just used my liquid glass to put it on so that I can kind of put it on straight. And then after it dries, I'll flip it over, and I use my washi tape to adhere it down to the back of the sheet so that it doesn't come up. So I've put my circle on my photos and my little wood card. Now I'm taking this cashmere cardstock, and I'm just stamping the 2 images that I wanted to stamp of the little boy and the girl reading their books. And then the other one's a little girl that's reading. And I'm going to cut out away from here because I just stamped them and then I cut them out, and you didn't need to see me cut out shapes. I went ahead and on these, I didn't want to color them in completely with markers and stuff. I didn't want them really bright because the boys and girls on the paper are really soft and kind of antiqued looking. So I just pulled out all of the markers that I had, well actually just a small container of markers that I had, and used those to just add just a little bit of color but not a lot. Oh, and I'm jumping ahead of myself. The first thing I did was I used my piercing tool and I punched around the circle to get my stitching lines, and then I'll also break away here too. I just took a needle and embroidery floss and just stitched around the circles. That just adds another texture, another element of design to the paper that, or to the layout, that makes it really look nice, I think. I'm a simple scrapper, but not, you know, I add a lot of things to it, even though I keep my pages fairly simple. Okay, so here is where I'm coloring, and I just have some older close to my heart markers, some Tombow markers. I was just looking for different ones that wouldn't add a lot of color, that I could just real lightly add just a hint of color to the images, because I wanted them to stay part of the background but yet have a little bit of interest. And then I just pop dotted those up onto the layout. These photos were so fun to scrap, and like I said earlier, when I saw that little wood veneer card with the title, "This is one for the books," I knew immediately I wanted to pull these photos out and scrap. My kids loved to read, and my son would read to my daughter after she had come along. And so they had this bookshelf. It's 3 shelves full of books, and he constantly had them all out, either piled beside his bed, in the living room, wherever. He would drag these books everywhere, and I could not convince him to get 1 book out or even 2 books out at a time and leave the rest in the shelf. And so I went into their room one day, their playroom, and the entire bookshelf was empty, and they had them all stacked up, but they were inside of the bookshelves, and he was reading a book to her. And I just thought it was so precious. And so my title comes from that. So I use these red buttons that have alphabets on them. And then the blue alphabet is from the Echo Park Sweet Girl. And then I had some wood veneer chipboard thicker alphabets. So I just combined all of those to say books are for reading, not for bookshelves. And so I'm going to have a lot of fun journaling on this. I'm probably going to have to add some hidden journaling or journaling to the back to get the whole story in. But I'm really happy with the way the layout turned out. And then the red hearts that I put in there, those are just red enamel hearts from Close to My Heart. So I added one between the 2 sections of the title and then on each end of it. So I hope you enjoyed this layout. Be sure to check back with me for more process videos. I'll have still shots at the end with close-ups of the layout. And be sure to check me out on my blog, tiggerscrapplace.blogspot.com, and on Facebook you can find me at My Scrappy Ideas. And right here on YouTube under Tigger's Teachin'. Be sure to click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this, or leave me a comment, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining me.